there. I've got something for you tonight about Lightroom, and hope it's going to be helpful to you. I'm really starting at square one, truly. So plug it in the camera, download the images to the computer, setting up in the computer where the files are and that sort of thing. So it's basic but interesting. My computer is more organized than it's ever been because of Lightroom, and we do away with all the duplicates of files and such. So hang around with me if you can. Lightroom from the start. So when you open Lightroom, need to open Lightroom, we're going to one of two things would happen. When you plug in your camera to the computer, the import dialog would actually open up automatic. If it doesn't open up automatic, you go to the lower left right there where it says import and hit that button, and then you have this screen that pops up. The camera, the D750, is listed right there. I'll throw this in. Occasionally, I'll get this far and still not see the camera. If that happens to you, just restart the computer. It just kind of a hiccup of technical nature, I guess. But so we're going to highlight that D750. That's where the card is, and we'll see everything that's on the card. Now, the norm for my camera is that I leave things on there. I go out and shoot something, leave that on, whether it's a job or just shooting for myself, and so there'd be a lot of images grayed out. The grayed out has to do with the fact that you're preventing duplication, in that it's Lightroom's way of saying you already got these. But I was going to show you over here. There's a checkbox. Don't import suspected duplicates. So that's the reason you have those little gray things. But no gray things today, because I started off with just a blank card, and I just shot some things around the house for us to use for doing this. So another thing that you can do at this point is to uncheck. See how everything has a check right now? That is because they would be imported, but I can go through and realize that, you know, I don't need that one. This is actually a MOV file from creating this thing, this tutorial. I want the dogs, and then there's some more MOVs at the end. We'll undo those. And another thing, I've been shooting a lot lately where I shoot a RAW file and a JPEG, but today we don't need the JPEG, so I'm going to go through and uncheck the JPEGs. So now we're just looking to be sure that we have just the raw files in EFs. So basically, while we're here, I wanted to explain this to you. Realize that everything on the left side has to do with where things are coming from. So up here it says from D750, then see the little arrow? We're actually copying those files so they'll stay on the card and be copied onto the computer. So we're copying, and the arrow says to the Macintosh HD. Here is a area that people many times have a little bit of a problem with. What I'm getting at is I hear a lot about people having their computer slowing down or Lightroom slows down, that sort of thing. One thing that can be a part of that, something for you to check on, is that you might be making too many previews. What I'm getting at there is that there's previews that you need to do what you do with Lightroom. But many people that have no use for smart previews might have that checkbox checked. If you're not working with an iPad or you have photos on your phone regularly, I would uncheck that. We've already talked about the don't suspect, don't import things that would make duplications. There's also a way that we can actually add these to a collection if we wanted to. We're actually just going to put them in a folder, call it home for now, and we'll create collections as needed. So that's it for file handling. We are going to create one-to-one previews. And part of the reason that I do that, by the way, is that there's another place in our preferences where we can actually set up those one-to-one previews to be eliminated. I keep them a month. So that's another way of kind of trimming back your whole catalog with all those previews. They go away after a month. Keeps us trim. Next thing we're going to look at is file naming. What I do to organize my files, everything that is done here is very chronologically oriented, tight to a calendar. And per that, I create a file name that starts with 6 digits. First 2 digits have to do with the year, second 2 the month, third 2 is the day of the month, and then after that I have a little 3-digit sequential number. So I'm looking at the sample down here. So this file, as an example, would have 180209. That's February the 9th of 2018, and then the sequential number 001, and that's for JPEGs or the NEF files. We're only doing the NEFs. So, and also we're going to start it on 1. So that's it for file renaming. Then things to apply during import. We're going in the metadata. I work with stars, not the flags or different things like that. So what I do is add 2 stars to every photograph as it comes in, and then if the photo is just totally trash, I can put a 1 star on it, and I know that all of those 1 stars could be trimmed away, cut and trim some fat, you might say, eliminate those files because they are pretty much worthless. We're talking about the things where you're just pointing the camera down at whatever and made a picture by accident, things like that. That is, I call that basic 2018. It also has a copyright, the little C with a circle, Gary Cully, comma, 2018 is part of that metadata, so it's going in by way of Lightroom. Then if I had a preset, I could actually put it right here, and I'm working on some specific for incoming, so that it's just a slight little collection of things that happens to the photographs as they're coming in, but I don't do that right now. My dogs are the primary subject of this, so under keywords I could just put dogs, and I might put the singular of it just in case. And then the destination of all of this is going to go to, I have files for years, so I have created, and you can certainly do this. It's extremely organized. I have a folder that says 2018 incoming images. So everything goes into that folder within a subfolder that's dated the date. So the things that we're looking at today are going to say 2018-2-8, and there's 17 of them. Looks like we're only getting 7 of them though. So here I do not check into subfolder. For some reason it does that just by doing organized by the date, and the date format, which is year, month, day, and it's going into the Macintosh hard drive. This is kind of a glimpse into my organizing in the computer under my pictures folder. So we'll get into that a little deeper. If you have a question, feel free to drop me something in the comments, and I'll give you my Instagram also if you'd like to connect with me there. So we are all set. Everything's set, and when I've got all of the everything exactly the way that I want it to be, I just hit the import button right there at the bottom, and off they go. Now I can see at the top left they are coming in, and has nothing to do with the images that we're looking at, but we can scoot right up here, and there are those photos. I have some very, very handsome little doggies, and they normally make a good picture, but I went through tonight and had the flash on the camera, and all of the blinking just scared them to death. They were trying to find a place to hide, so didn't get to make many, but I got us a little collection to work with. So now you can see how everything is in place, and here on the top left, once again, there's Macintosh HD, my hard drive, and within the pictures folder, within 2018 incoming images, is 7 photo files we just added. So they're all set. So I hope you've gathered some good information about connecting with Lightroom and making use of it to organize your photos and kind of minimize the duplicates. That was always a problem that I had before Lightroom. Another thing that you might want to check on, there's a little bit of additional information at TEKeez.com that you might want to see. Among other things, there is a explanation of how to make the template to number the photos the way that you might want to number them. So check me out there. I'm also on Instagram at Gary Cully Photographer. So look forward to helping some more.